behind Ustream TV talk show where I am your host, Dr. Michele Vaughn, and my lovely co-host,
Dr. April Stallworth.
Hello, people. We are here again. It is March, people. The year, isn't the year going by fast? It is flying by, but it's flying by hopefully in your lives with purpose. So last show we had two guests. We taped two shows last month. We had Victoria Coleman.
Yes.
She talked about not settling moms just to have a man. Ooh. Then we had follow-up was Dr. Monique Flemings.
Yes.
She talked about her book, which is titled Yes, I'm Still Single. And, you know, if a guy asks you out, you just can't go right to dinner. He has to earn that. Right? We're doing coffee and Lunchables. Stop doing that. But today, ladies, today, moms, we are on a whole different subject today. We're taking a little twist and a turn. We have our first male guest, people. Someone say male.
Male.
Our first male guest, Mr. McGhee, okay? He is here to join us, and the topic today is raising fatherless sons. Ooh. Okay. Epidemic, raising fatherless sons. I mean, this is what we're beginning to see in our schools, is so many single moms are now charged to raise the next generation of men. Men. It's going beyond boyhood. It actually transitioning them into manhood. As a woman, is it possible? Is it really possible to do this? And so I just kind of want to open up, okay, the conversation with my own personal experience. People, I told you I am a single mother. I have two sons of my own, and I have been tasked to raise these young boys into young men that society can respect and they respect others. It has been a lot of sweat equity involved.
I know that's right.
It has not been easy, people. So, you know, and with my own experience, and then even watching other young women who also have young boys, etc., right. I'm coming to you from my experience. I just personally believe, this is me, that as a woman, no, I'm not a man, so I really don't know all that, you know, I'm not that. I don't want to be that.
It's clear.
I'm not a man, okay? But I do believe that as a human being, as a mother, I'm a nurturer by nature. I nurture, right? I can't help but be that. But it's been important to me from when they were little that I teach them integrity.
Yes.
Because what is integrity? Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. Ain't nobody looking. What you gonna do? You gonna do the right thing? That's integrity. Teaching them character, right?
Yes.
Because it's beyond your gender, it's character. It's character. And also perseverance.
Yes.
When you start something, that doesn't mean that you just quit. The opposite of start is finish. So you're going to finish what you start. You're not just going to join this football team and because you got sacked, you're going to quit. No, you're going to finish.
Get back out.
You better get back up, Rocky. You're going to finish. So teaching them what that perseverance looks like, and then also the endurance, okay?
Yes.
It was important as a mother for me that my son saw me from the bottom. I mean, sleeping on an air mattress, making $500 a month, $6,000 a year, going to school full time. I could have easily quit.
Yes.
Easily. I could have easily quit and said, you know what, this is for the birds. I don't have time for this. But guess what? They didn't ask to be here.
Hello.
They did not ask to be here, and because they did not ask to be here, I feel that it is my duty.
Yes.
God has put this charge on me. No, their father was not involved. He's incarcerated. So he is not involved. Who's going to be in charge of them? Me. The school systems are looking at me to help raise these young men. I've been in and out of principal offices, social worker offices, having conversations about, you know, bullying. My son's being bullied. And here I am sitting with, there's a child that's bullying, and then they have their mother and their father, and then there's just me. Talk about feeling like, whew, you know, but I had to, in that moment, I even learned how to sit tall, you know, and just, you know, and move forward in a conversation. So as a single mom, you know, for me, I have to have God. He has to be the one to help me because I don't have all the answers. But another key thing is that it was important that my sons did have that male mentor. in their life. And that's where my brothers came into play, their grandfather came into play.
Yes.
They just began to pick up those gender pieces that I just could not associate with, because listen, when my oldest son became 13, he was feeling some kind of way.
Hey, easy.
Okay?
Easy.
He was feeling some kind of
Don't
way.
put it out there like that.
Right, let me know. Okay, you're right. But it required that I couldn't help him. Right. Let me get on the phone real quickly. I need you to have a conversation with him. Right. I need you to go spend the weekend with your uncle.
Yes.
Maybe the week. Right. Because they're going through something that I really just cannot identify with.
That's
right. So I was so blessed to be able to have men in their lives to be able to say, okay, this is what you do when this happens, this is what you do, etc.
Yes.
So just a little bit of my experience. It's been very taxing, it's been trying, but even when my sons were younger, I used to take them on dates, okay? Individual dates. I did, because I wanted my sons to know that, you know what, it's a certain way you treat a lady.
Hello.
It just really is. You're going to treat a lady how you want a man to treat your mama.
And there you have it.
So my sons, listen, they would open the door for me, okay? We would be sitting at the restaurant and I say, okay, we have one biscuit left. Okay, who's going to get this biscuit? If you're on a date, you don't reach your hand and grab that biscuit, okay? You need to be sure that young lady is not desiring that biscuit, okay?
Yes.
And so just teaching them, don't be selfish. Ask her, would you like, the last biscuit, or would you like to share this biscuit, or what you want to do with this biscuit?
Yes, what you do?
So just little things like that, that just really helped me in terms of raising my sons. So another thing I did was I did a little research, okay? It's 4 tips, ladies, I want to share with you. If you're raising sons, I did some research on some quick tips of certain things we need to teach them, okay? So the first one is, number 1, give him a hand at managing his emotions. Oh. T.D. Jakes wrote a book called He Motions.
Yes, he did.
Right?
Yes, he did.
Because oftentimes, we're women, we're nurturers. If you fall, oh, you okay, baby?
Right.
But sometimes the father may say, oh, boy, stop crying. We don't cry. Real men don't cry. Well, Jesus cried.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he wept.
He wept.
Not only did he cry, he wept. Okay?
Yes, he did.
So oftentimes with my sons, as I was raising them, yes, I embrace their emotions, right? But at the end of the day, there's healthy emotions and there's emotions that are not healthy.
Yes.
And so trying to find that balance, what society says is cool and what you're trying to impart into them is challenging. It's difficult. But even as boys, it's important that they acknowledge that their emotions are acknowledged, and it's okay if they have to release it, because if you don't release your tears, they may boil over into anger.
Yes.
And you'll be just an angry man. Okay? So teaching them how to handle their emotions. Another step 2, teaching your sons how to have empathy. Empathy. This is where you help your sons understand about other people's feelings. Because kids are selfish by nature. They just selfish. That's mine.
Yes.
That's not yours. That's mine. This is my area. It's mine.
Man,
right? Man, that little man. But teaching your sons how to empathize and make their decisions based on how they think other people are going to feel. Right? That's teaching them empathy. Teaching them how to be a man one day and be that good husband one day.
Yes.
Right? Then number 3, strengthen his sense of self. Oh my God, people, mothers, please. Don't speak words that are going to tear your son down and say you're dumb or you're just like your daddy. What does that mean? You had a child with this man. So speak words of life to your son. You're watering his potential with your words. You have to begin, and that was big for me.
Yes.
I would always, when I see my sons, okay, I see him he's kind of down in that area. Let me just give you a little pep talk again. Let me just, you can be my little audience of 2. Let me just grab this remote control as my microphone and give you your pep talk. Because it's important that they get it at home.
Yes.
Because their success is attached to their self-image. And if they're walking out the house feeling low about themselves, then they're not going to rise up to the where we know they can rise up and become what they were born to be. So mothers, please acknowledge their self-image and strengthen that. Last thing, help your sons instill respect for others. They have to. See, men, they said what a man wants, what a woman needs. In my opinion, I believe that a man desires respect.
Yes.
You know, just that whole,
Absolutely.
you're going to respect me.
Yes.
We desire to feel loved and protected, that whole
That's right.
thing. But
Love and
respect. Teach your sons how to respect authority so they won't buck at authority. Teach them how to respect their teachers, how to respect their elders. Bring it back to the old school, back in the day when you see what I'm saying? So they won't be so quick to talk back. Because these elders have more life experience. You understand what I'm saying? So teaching your sons these key things and then being the living example in front of them, because they're going to watch you more than what you say.
Yes, they are.
They will watch and say, okay, wait a minute, well, you're not doing that. And even if you mess up, because we're not perfect moms, just say, you know what, I messed up. I apologize. You know, I'm not perfect, but I acknowledge I messed up. Integrity. So people, this is just a quick opening, okay? Now, this is nothing compared to what you're about to experience, okay?
Right.
So we're going to go to a quick break, all right? But please do not log off. When we come back, we're going to have our first male guest on No Single Mom Left Behind, Mr. McGhee. And when he comes back, I promise you, you will not want to walk away from your laptop, your smartphone, wherever you watch this. You're going to want to stay tuned. He is more than qualified to talk about the subject. Stay tuned, people. My name is Dr. Michele Vaughn.
Dr. April Stallworth.
We'll be back soon.
Just give me a moment and I can testify. I'm alive when I could have been left to die. Now I'm seeing it with desperate.
Welcome to the No Single Mom Left Behind Ustream TV talk show. We are back, people. I'm your host, Dr. Michele Vaughn, and my co-host,
Dr. April Stallworth.
People, we have our first male guest, Mr. McGhee. Yay! Wow, Mr. McGhee. Just a little bit about him. I have to introduce him properly to the world. He is a motivational speaker. He is an author. Okay, he travels all around the world, empowering the lives of young people. And he has his own business called Transforming Lives International. And he has 21 years professional experience in the juvenile justice system, correctional system, and he is now a dean in Chicago at the charter school for boys at Urban Prep. So he is definitely invested with our fatherless sons. He understands the everything. You're going to hear from him. But we are excited to have him join us. This is a man who's going to talk about what it's like to be a young boy, transition to manhood, and he's also a single father, raising a daughter. Okay.
Wow.
Right. So Mr. McGhee, I'm just going to hand this is over to you. Okay. Tell the audience a little bit about your background, where you come from, yourself, etc.
Okay. I'm Mack McGhee. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, actually a community called University Park, Illinois. I got 3 older sisters, so you know that was pretty tough growing up in a household full of sisters, right? When I was about 11 or 12, my parents split up, and so from the time I was 12 until adulthood, my mother raised me. I had a relationship with my father, but as you all know, it's pretty difficult being the only young man in the household with 3 older sisters and your mom. And so I had a lot of struggles and things of that nature that I experienced. I went through a very angry period, as many young men that I work with I see on a daily basis. And part of that anger was a result of just not understanding what happened with my parents. I didn't understand. One day my father's there, the next day he's gone, and no one was there to sit me down and explain to me what transpired, what happened. And so it's really important. I really stress to parents, if that happens in your family, to seek out some counseling. Make sure that your sons or daughters have somebody to talk to be able to express their emotions and their feelings about what the fact that their family just fell apart.
Yeah.
You know. My mother, she was a gem. I mean, she was a trooper. She worked 2 and 3 jobs. She did what she had to do. She made sure that me and my sisters had structure. And so I give her credit, major credit, for me being who I am today, because she had some very strict rules that we all had to live by. But she helped me to get through a lot of the things that I was feeling emotionally. And you know, I'm forever grateful for her. I lost her in 2006, and one of the things I said at her funeral when I gave her tribute was that I would spend the rest of my life transforming lives. Wow. Matter of fact, when we came up with the name for the company, it was my mother that helped me, sitting at her kitchen table. Wow. She's like, you need to transform lives. And so I believe in the statement, a son never forgets. And so that's my commitment, and that's my charge, to go out here and be an example for young men and women, but particularly our young African American men, because they're going through so much throughout the country. And so I want to be a role model.
Wow, that is already amazing. Well, and let's go back, because you mentioned something. You said, you know, your mother and father divorced.
Well, they never divorced. They just separated for 17 years.
Okay. Well, they were not together.
Right.
And you had 3 sisters, and it was yourself, and you said your mother worked 3 jobs.
Yes.
Now, do you believe, and this is to single moms raising sons, you said your mother was very strict. Right. Do you believe that boys respect boundaries? They won't say, but do you think that they really respect boundaries?
I believe young men need structure. They need those boundaries. A lot of times they're crying out. When you provide them with boundaries, they may fight back a little bit, but they actually are able to thrive when they have boundaries and structures in their life. One of the things I say to parents all the time is we have to stop buying our children off. And what I mean by that is we can't buy them all these gaming systems and the Jordans or whatever the shoes they wear now, these iPhones, right? Because what we're doing is we're trading that in terms of not spending that quality time with them. See, my mother knew me. My mother, when she would come to the school, she always sided with the teachers. And the reason she would side with the teachers, she would say to them, I know he did it because he does it at home. That meant she had an understanding of her son, but a lot of what I'm seeing these days, our parents are not spending enough time with their children. Wow. And so they almost, out of a sense of guilt, they just buy them everything that they want, and they really don't understand what's happening. So when they do get a call from the school, they're more apt to argue with the teacher or the administrators, trying to advocate for their son out of a sense of guilt.
Right. Wow, you done hit us with that whole thing. Okay, let me go to another question. Wow, okay, because I have been guilty of that early on. I have been guilty of that, you know, let me try to just say, Father's not here, let me go ahead and get you that PlayStation 2, okay? But you're right about that. So here's another question. How did you get involved with public speaking? You mentioned your mother was very influential. She said you need to transform lives. You took that and ran with it.
Well, early in my career, I worked for an organization called Aunt Martha's Youth Services in the South Suburbs. I ran a GED program, so I worked with young men who had dropped out of school or who were expelled. I worked with teen moms. We had a teen parenting program. And so actually in high school, I always loved poetry. I always loved poetry. And so how I got sort of into public speaking was we had a GED graduation. And they said, Mac, would you say a few words? And I got up and I did a poem, you know, Live Your Creed. And someone was like, wow, you know, that was powerful. You know, you're a speaker. So basically, every program that agency had, after that, they would ask me to say a few words. And so people noticed that I had a gift. And, you know, so people would say, you should be a motivational speaker. And I didn't even know that was something that you could do. I mean, the only person I knew of at that time was Les Brown. He was like the only person, you know, so I didn't realize that was something that I could actually do. And then, you know, one day, I want to say probably around 2004, 2005, I sort of had a moment of clarity. You know, I felt like, you know, this was my calling, this was my God-given gift, because I believe every young person has a God-given gift and a God-given purpose. And so I sought to start to develop that gift. I joined Toastmasters, became a Toastmasters, participated in the international speech competition. And so basically I do everything I can to cultivate and develop the gift that God has given me. And so that's pretty much how I got into, you know, becoming a motivational speaker. I studied ministry for 2 years under Reverend Harvey Carey and Dr. Dwight Perry from Moody Bible Institute. And so I know that I have the gift of exhortation to encourage and to empower young people, or people, period.
Wow. You really do. I'm feeling empowered right now. Okay, so then let's shift real quickly. What is your concept, because you're a single father, you're raising your daughter, what is your concept on single parenting, and how do you manage being a single father to a daughter?
Well, one of the things that I always wanted my daughter to know, and I tell her I love her on a regular basis, and then I work also, I believe in co-parenting. So I work really hard with her mother. I mean, we have a great relationship in terms of co-parenting.
Oh, speak on
Right. So that she, because so many people, they fall out and things like that. But me and her have come together, and we know that it's about Maya. My daughter's name is Maya Simone McGhee. And so when it comes to anything going on with her at school or socially or with her friends, we're on the same page as it relates to that. Right? I want my daughter to know that she's loved, and then I also want her to know that she should help people. I always tell her, Maya, whatever happens to me in life, when you become an adult, always seek to help other people. I want her to know that because my grandmother taught me that, my mother taught me that. It was important, and that's probably why I always feel compassion and want to, lend a helping hand to someone, because I saw a role model by my mother, I saw a role model by my grandmother.
Wow.
So.
Okay. How do you, that's powerful, because you said co-parenting. So for the single mom who is having issues with the child's father, how do they transition to co-parenting beyond the fallout?
Right. That's an excellent question. Excellent question. Because I don't want to sit here and act like it just happened, magically, right? Basically, a lot of times when, and this is for men, I want men to really understand this, is that when you go through a separation or divorce, particularly men in the black community, it's okay to go talk to someone, right? Personally, I wouldn't found a therapist.
Come on.
Right? I wouldn't found a therapist because I needed to get through my swamp experience, right? My family had fell apart.
His swamp experience. Come on, man. Okay.
As a man, I felt like a failure. Right? Wow. And so I needed to go talk to somebody. Actually, a good friend of mine, Reverend Mike Neal, I reached out to him first. And he prayed with me and all that. And he said, Mac, talk to somebody. And so it was a great experience for me. I was able to unload safely, as they say, and get through my swamp experience and move forward. And so during that period of time, me and my ex-wife, there has to be some distance in terms of communication, to be able to get some distance from those feelings or however you're feeling, maybe the negative feelings that you're experiencing, and start to aim and focus on what's in the best interest of the child that you have. And so there was a period of time where our communication was not as frequent, but sometimes you have to put some distance between, your past in order to get to the future that you want for yourself.
Oh, wait a minute. Did he just say, in order to get to the future that you want for yourself? Gosh, some distance. See, that's that selfless love, right? Not selfish love. Yeah. So if a father does not, or a mother does not pursue the reconciliation on the behalf of the child, right? What issues do you see today that fatherless sons are at risk? If the father is not involved, you know what I mean, and the reconciliation is not there. You have 21 years experience in the juvenile system. What are our fatherless sons at risk of experiencing in this life?
Wow. It's deep. I did a talk in Baltimore back in September about disproportionate minority contact. Basically, the mass incarceration of African American juveniles in this country. Michele Alexander wrote a book called The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. But working in detention, I was the director of training for Cook County Juvenile Temporary Detention Center. I worked in reentry for Illinois Department of Corrections for a number of years. And the first time I had the opportunity to go into a prison, I cried. I mean, to see all of these black men incarcerated, locked up. And so, yes, they're at risk. When families won't work together, when mothers and fathers won't work together, our young men are at risk. Right now, in Cook County, because I know the data for that, in Cook County, you have young men between the ages of 10 to 17. They represent maybe 17% of the juvenile population, but account for 98% of people detained in Cook County Juvenile Temporary Detention Center. So it's a major issue, and most people don't know about DMC, what we call disproportionate minority contact, or racial and ethnic disparities and things of that nature. But it's something that I'm trying to bring a light to, so that people understand that if we're not working together, if we're not putting together programs, if we don't actually, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child, if we're not doing that, then we're losing our young men to the prisons, and we're losing them to the cemetery. I have a campaign, I call it A Husband for Maya, because one day I want my daughter to have a husband. But if they continue to go to prison at the rate that they're going, or if they continue to go to the cemetery at the rate that they're going, then the selection that Maya will have will be very slim.
Oh, I love that.
Husband for Maya.
And Imani.
And Imani. Okay, we've added Imani onto that campaign. Wow, that is awesome. Okay, you're doing too much for me. Okay, we're going to go, because you touched on something in answering that question, which leads to this question. So then, what can a local and national community do to begin to serve as a positive solution? Because you just identified the stats. We identify the problems.
Yes.
But what can the local community do? When I say community, I'm talking about the churches, schools, social service agencies, nonprofits. How can they come together and help be a part of the solution and saving this next generation?
Excellent question. Excellent. We got to stop operating in silos. Basically, as a community, which means, to me, I was taught that it means common unity. When we have a community, so we have churches, and we have non-for-profit organizations, we can't operate in silos. We have to open our doors, extend our hands, come to meetings together, and say, okay, what is your area of expertise? What are you good at?
Yeah.
Okay, so you handle that. What are you good at? I know years ago they tried to form, when you would apply for federal funding and things like that, they would call it a consortium approach, because they didn't want one person just getting all of the funding, and so they would bring various organizations to the table, and that way this organization operates in their expertise so that the community is served. But even more than that, because not only do we have a prison industrial complex, but we have what I call a social service industrial complex. People fighting over funds and money with not necessarily with the idea of what as Stephen Covey would say, beginning with the end in mind, right? And so what I like to do, and what I like to challenge, particularly African American men, it's time to get off the sidelines. Matter of fact, you can hashtag that, hashtag get off the sidelines.
Hashtag that, get off the sidelines now.
It's time to get off the sidelines. We have to do more, and that's one of the things I challenge myself, because in the last 21 years, most of the things I've done has been a function of my employment, right? And so a lot of times this is what I do for a living, I work here, I'm at a school, so on and so forth, but at the rate that we're losing our young brothers, it's just not enough.
Wow.
Right? And so I'm challenging men, it's time to get off the sidelines. You got time to go hang out?
Right.
You got time to volunteer.
Ooh.
You got time to go do this. You got time to spend time with a young man that's not your son. Matter of fact, bring him along with your son. As Mr. Parker, Emmanuel Parker, a great man that was a mentor to me growing up, he had a son named Maury who was a good friend of mine, and whenever he would take his son somewhere, he would say, go see if Mac wants to go.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh.
My God. Okay, so then you mentioned something, the silos. You said stop operating
Yes.
in silos. Then is there a fear factor of unity in a community? Is a fear factor, is it associated with competition?
Yeah.
Competing for the same small population, come here, two churches on the same corner, they never speak to each other. I mean, what is a fear factor?
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a fear factor. I mean, there's a lot of times when things are grant funded or driven by funds, then there's a certain expectation. You need to serve 100 youth. And so now you set up this division where you think the other organization taking your kids.
Right.
And my thing is the door should be open. If this young man or this young lady can go to this organization to get that, they should be able to.
Right.
We should collaborate more in order to make our communities brighter. I mean, it's just so much going on, and so if there's faith present, then fear is not an issue.
Come on.
He hasn't given us the spirit of fear.
Okay, so so then what what is the most important thing? The most important thing, because boys and girls are different. We just, what is the most important thing that a young boy really needs when he's growing up? When you talk to the mom, what should she be in tune with?
Excellent question. I know for me, and I just use my life, right? I'm named after my father. I look just like my father, and so that was my superhero. He was Superman to me. Wow. And so when he was no longer present, where I saw him on a daily basis, then I had a lot of anger and a lot of emotional issues that I didn't know how to deal with. And so I think what I see, particularly in schools and in the juvenile detention centers when I work, is you have a lot of African American boys, they're angry with their father. Why he didn't show up, why he didn't come to get them. And so I think for the mothers that are still present, that are doing the work, is that they need to, be sensitive to that. Like, for instance, you couldn't say anything about my father in earshot of me when I was young, because I would defend him. Even though at times when he may not have been doing what he should have been doing, you couldn't say anything because that's who I was connected to, right? So I would say for mothers, you have to be sensitive to the fact that there's a yearning there. It's a brother I met out in Sacramento, California. He put together a documentary called Daddy Hunger, right? The fact that all boys have a hunger to know their father. And he met his father. He didn't meet his biological father until he was 41 years old.
Wow.
And that did something for him. And he was able to put this documentary together to talk about the fact that young men need their fathers, or to be connected, or at least know who they are.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so isn't it? Are you heated over there?
Yes, it's so good.
It's really good. Okay, do boys carry their internal pain differently than girls? This is a two-part question. And then, what is the best outlet for a boy to release his internal pain?
First part of that, I would say yes. One is because historically, I think young men have been taught to not show emotion, to not show their feeling. That's something I got rid of a long time. I cried yesterday.
You want to cry right now?
And so it's good to cry. It's good
Yes.
to be in touch with your emotions or how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And so I think that young men and young women are different in that regards. I think for me, in terms of how I was able to get through that, is I had some very positive coaches. I was an athlete growing up in high school, and I would say whether you're an athlete or you need to be. My mother kept us involved in activities.
Yes.
We're involved in activities, and so you find an activity that allows you to express yourself. So it may be theater, it may be sports, it could be whatever, something at that school or in that community will allow you to express who you are in a very positive way. And then from those coaches, they help to guide me and mold me and mentor me to make me a better person. They weren't always successful,
Right.
But they did their best. And the things that I believe, I tell people all the time, is that we have to plant seeds of hope, right? And we have to plant seeds of hope, because I remember probably everything a teacher or a coach told me, and it may not have resonated with me at that time, but then 5-6 years later, I can look back on it and say, wow, that's what Miss Cole was talking about, or that's what Mr. Breckler was talking about, or whatever. So we have to plant those seeds and hope that one day it will grow.
Wow. So you're saying, just so we clear now, it's okay for boys and men to cry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cry, fellas.
Absolutely.
Okay? Cry. Okay. All right. So then now you have progressed with the years of experience in working with young boys. Talk to the people about your solution in Chicago. You're putting together this man camp.
Right.
What is man camp? Ooh.
So basically, at the end of 2014, and like I said earlier, it was like, okay, it's time to get off the sidelines. It's time to do more, right? I'm tired of turning on the news. I'm tired of having conversations at work with coworkers. What's wrong with the kids? They going crazy, right? And so my solution, or my attempt to address it, was to develop the Manhood Development Camp.
Wow.
And basically challenge men I know, fraternity brothers I know, to join me on Saturday morning. As a matter of fact, we launch our first Manhood Development Camp on Saturday, April 4th. It will be an 8-week program, and basically we're going to cover there's 3 components: the brotherhood, circle, and that's the first 45 minutes. Young men, they come in. We're going to teach them poems. We're going to teach them like I call them perseverance poems. I know probably 25, 30 poems, which I call perseverance poems, which can be useful as we continue this journey through life, right? As you cross different crossroads. But then also, there's a restorative justice piece what we call the circle process. And so we'll have these young men sitting in a circle, and the circle keeper will bring up a certain topic, and each young man will have the opportunity to speak to it as far as his feelings about it, what he thinks about it, because a lot of times we don't allow our young men or women to express themselves, to open up, or to feel safe to ask any question. I tell the students I work with every day, no question is off limit.
Right.
You ask. You know, it may be inappropriate, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you an answer because you're curious about it, and I'd rather give you an answer that's going to help to save you than you to relying on one of your peers that don't know any more than you.
That's good.
Right? The second component of it, we'll have lecturers come in every week, males, that will come in every week that will address a different topic: conflict resolution, anger management, critical thinking skills.
Come on.
Let me think this out before I do it. Let me think about what the consequence may be before I actually make this decision that I'm going to make. 1 week we want to bring in sisters. We want to bring in women because we
Sign us up. We'll walk through there. We sure will.
We want them to come in and just talk about how much they love and how much they need our young men to survive, right? And then the third component is we're going to identify some type of a community service project so that they understand the importance of community, the importance of giving back to their community, because I think what happens in our community, we teach our young men and women to escape. Do good in school, get that scholarship, don't come back here. But every other community, the best and brightest go get great education, and then they come back to the community, which help to produce them, and they give to that community. And so that's pretty much, this is a pilot. We're going to run it the first 8 weeks. We're going to go back to the lab, assess it. But my goal, my intention is for it to be a year-round program where mothers particularly can send their sons that they may be struggling with or having problems with, but then also to create an opportunity for men who say, well, I don't know where I can go to volunteer. MAC is coming for you. I'm going to create a place for you to volunteer on a weekly basis. You can give up those 3 hours. If you can watch the NFL, the NBA, all the stuff that we do as men.
Madness.
Well, guess what? We'll bring a flat screen in and we'll watch it together with those young brothers that don't have a father to watch it with.
Come on. He done put you all the way out there. Wow, that's awesome. So is it a cost? Did you mention? So
right now, it's 8 weeks. It's $150 for the 8 weeks. Okay. So that's basically about $20 a week. However, I did a crowdfunding campaign, and we were able to raise in the last 2 weeks close to $2,500. And so what I've said to parents, I put a commercial up on social media. What I've said to parents is I don't want money to be a factor. If your son needs to be there, we will cover the cost.
That's right.
We will cover the cost. If your son, grandson, nephew, next door neighbor's son needs to be there, we will cover the cost. We don't want cost to be an issue, or you pay what you are able to pay.
My God. He just
all excuses gone. They
vanished. So I have one last fight. Do you have any questions? I could. Right.
Well, my question was going to be about you growing up in that household with all the women.
Right. That's a great question.
What did that teach you? And I know you touched on some of it. That is now helping you as the father of a daughter.
Right. Well, you know what it taught me. I mean, you know, Carolyn, Pam, and Tina. Those are my sisters' names. They terrorized me. They know they terrorized me. I had to watch all my children, One Life to Live, and all that stuff, right? But you know, I know that they yearn to have that relationship with our dad. You know, and my father, he was a very hard worker. He came here from the South, entrepreneur. You know, he was a good man. I lost him in 2011. But when I talk with my sisters, they feel like they never had that emotional connection. He worked. You know, he was a worker, and we all have a strong work ethic because of my mother and father. And so that's one of the pieces that I wanted to give to my daughter, where she would, from day one, Maya, I love you. Maya, how you doing? What's going on? And so I feel it's very important for her to know that she's connected to me, that she can reach out to me at any time. Like right now, I see her every other weekend, right? But she knows that she's not limited to every other weekend. She can pick up the phone and say, hey, Dad, come get me, and I'll go get her. I drop whatever I'm doing. I'm hanging out with the buddies. Hey, look, my daughter called me. Let me go get her, right? So beautiful. That's important to me.
Wow, that is beautiful. I have one final question. Okay. So, in terms of mentorship, you mentioned when you were young, a man beckoned for you to come with his son. Right. Do you believe that, because a lot of moms, they don't know where to look for in terms of who can mentor their son, in the churches, or who's even beckoning for sons to come and join them to the game, or whatever it is. What is your concept on mentoring in terms of, does it go beyond gender into character? And then if the mother does have a relationship with the father of the child and the father's character is not in alignment with what she's trying to teach in terms of purpose and etc., how is that? Is that a conflict?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that could create conflict. I mean, I think that you always want to do what's in the best interest of the child, your child. And if you have a parent that's doing things that, you have to get your child away from that situation. You have to. I mean, it's just, someone has to be responsible. And so if both parents are not going to be responsible, then someone has to step up and be responsible. And if that means that this child time is limited with this parent, then so be it, right? Because you don't want to ruin this child because of the irresponsible behavior of one or both of the parents, right? So when you're seeking mentors, one thing about mentorship, and I've dealt with this for a lot of years, when we would sign up mentors, they would have to sign up for a year commitment because too many of our young people have people come in and out of their life, right? They're used to that, and so they have this sense of abandonment that they're dealing with. So they start to, have a connection to you, and then you disappear. You stop coming around. And so with mentorship, you have to be careful. You don't want just anybody coming into your child's life, and speaking into their life and being around them if they're not going to be around. Right. So as a mother, I would say you have to be careful. One of the best things, like I say, for me was being involved in activities. Not only sports. I took piano lessons. I had a piano teacher. I had people that were nurturing me and helping me to develop and to grow. And so I would find as many programs, in the community, at your school, and then parents. You need to be involved in parent council, the parent school council for parents, right?
Come on, show up.
You need to show up and be active and be able to speak to the agendas of what's going on at that school. You have to be active. So there's no easy answer. Sometimes, I had Mr. Park, I had Chuck Collins, I had my best friend's mother, Gloria Barnett Brookins. We looked up to her. We used to call her Miss Huxtable because she reminded us of Claire Huxtable off the Cosby Show because she was so professional and the way she carried herself. And so you got to always remember, young people are watching. They're always paying attention, even when you don't think they're paying attention. And so I had those role models outside of my parents. I had those individuals in the community that I looked up to. And when I engaged with them or had the opportunity to interact with them, they always made me feel good about myself and my potential. Because a lot of time, as we know, we see things in our children that they don't necessarily see in themselves at that time, right? And we don't want them to self-sabotage and lose the opportunity for their greatness because they couldn't see it. As Les Brown says, sometimes it's hard to see the picture when it's in the frame. So we have to be vigilant about that.
Wow. Ooh, well, not only do you transform lives internationally, you just transformed our lives right here behind this table. Right. We want to thank our first male guest, Mr. McGhee. People, let's just give it up. Come on. Yes, you know what? You helping people discover their purpose through inspiration. You cannot tell me that you have not just been inspired. Just not even a little bit. Come on, I know you've been inspired. Right. You can find more of Mr. McGhee's work on his actual website. It is www.MackMcGhee, com, people. He is doing amazing work with our young males in Chicago and even around the world, empowering people and inspiring people through positivity. So this is the type of individual you definitely, moms, want to look out for when it comes to connecting your sons with a mentor who's going to help develop their purpose. So we're going to go to a quick break. Do not log off, because when we come back, we're going to have a closing topic with my lovely co-host, who's going to talk about moms, don't be a roadblock, be a bridge. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Just give me a moment and I can testify. I'm alive when I could have been left to die. Now I'm seeing it with desperate eyes. And I'm praying.
No Single Mom Left Behind Ustream TV talk show. People, if you're just now tuning in, oh man, you're gonna have to go back and press rewind on this episode, because we just had a wonderful first male guest, Mr. McGhee. He put all men on Front Street and said, listen, I need y'all to come and step up and help. I need you to mentor, to volunteer, and not only that, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do so every week. It started in April. So we are he set the bar up here concerning our male guests. So if we have another male guest, we're gonna send you this clipping. Come correct. Come correct. But I won't take up your time. My lovely co-host, Miss Life Coach April Stallworth, is going to talk about not serving as a roadblock, but a bridge between the father and the son. Take it away.
Yes, we call this the Get Your Life series.
Get your life.
Get your life. Because I always tell y'all that, ladies. And it's out of love that I say that, because I had to get my life. I'm still getting my life. And so I'm just trying to share some things that I've gone through, that we've gone through, that can help you as you move along in your journey as a single mom. This thing ain't easy, but it's doable. So this totally piggybacks right on what Mack was talking about, and he set stage for this little segment. When I talk about not being a roadblock but being a bridge, I'm talking about fostering a healthy relationship between your baby's daddy and your child.
Come on.
You have to be a part of that. Now you can either be a roadblock in that, or you can be a bridge in that. I want to be a bridge.
Be a bridge.
I ain't want to be no roadblock. That don't even sound nice, roadblock.
It's not.
Because when you're blocking other stuff, you're blocking your own blessings.
You are.
And I have to admit, I wasn't always a bridge.
You wasn't that bridge.
No. I wasn't necessarily a roadblock, I don't think. You gotta ask my baby that. But I certainly wasn't a bridge.
Okay.
And there's a couple of different reasons why. We'll get into that. But just a disclaimer right off the bat. If your baby daddy got issues, like major issues, like he has a violent tendency towards you or the child, if he don't have himself together, if he's engaging in a lot of unhealthy behaviors, we don't condone that. Absolutely. And we don't want you fostering that around your child.
Right.
We talked about that at the end of the segment with Mack, that you got to be a protector.
Right.
So we're not talking about you forging a relationship with a man who is going to be harmful to your child, be it physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Right.
So that's a disclaimer right off the bat. But if your child's father wants to be a good father, he's trying, he is doing the right things to be a living example for your child, and he wants to work with you, you gotta work with him. You gotta help him. You gotta be that bridge. You have a unique responsibility as the mother to bring that relationship together. It's in your child's best interest, it's in the dad's best interest, it's in the family unit's best interest, because there's a piece of you that's still a family,
Right.
whether you're together or not.
Right.
You have this child together. So one of the first things that you have to do is make sure you're healed emotionally from the relationship, or that you're on the road to healing. Because if we're not healed emotionally, a woman scorned. Woo! Good Lord.
It's not a good look.
And I know this from personal experience. I was not healed emotionally in the beginning when I first had my daughter, because at the time I got pregnant, we were breaking up. So that was a mess. So here's this man, he's involved in the pregnancy. You know, he's going to Lamaze class with me and this, that. He wants to be really involved. But we ain't together. So that was like a cut to my heart every time we were together, because to the outside world it looked like, oh, here's this family, they having a baby, da 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 da. But we wasn't together. I wanted to stab him most of the time. I'm just keeping this going, not literally, but seriously. But I had to get myself some help to work on that whole piece that we're not together. We're gonna be co-parenting, but we're not in a relationship anymore, romantic relationship anymore. Our relationship has transitioned. He got the memo, I didn't. I had to go somewhere and get the memo. And that's what I had to work on. And it took me a while to do that. At first, I just wanted to get through the pregnancy. It was my first baby. It was a summertime. It was hot. I was big. And I just wanted to get to the finish line of bringing our daughter into the world. Then I had to really work on getting myself some help. And I had to go see somebody.
Okay.
I really did. I had to go see somebody. And I did what I had to do. And eventually, I got there. But get yourself healed emotionally. It's so, so important. If you need to use an intermediary, someone that can help you guys, family member, whoever, do that. I started to rely more on my daughter's grandmother, her dad's mother, to help bridge us while we got ourselves together.
Right.
And she ended up being perfect for that role. She and I had our issues in the beginning, but we worked on it. And then she started kind of being the bridge to make sure that there was time spent with that side of the family, when we were living in different states, for traveling, all that kind of stuff. And there were periods where I couldn't interact directly with my daughter's father throughout her growing up. It wasn't just in the beginning. So I said, that's okay. I'll work with his mom. And that's what we did. So sometimes you may need an intermediary that's comfortable with both of you guys that can help until y'all can get it together. By any means necessary, whatever it takes. And if you need an intermediary, you can do that. And then ladies, be flexible.
Come on.
This was one of the things I struggled with. I didn't stop my daughter's father from seeing her, but I sure didn't help. You can't come on that day, oh well. You lose your time. Well, can I get another day? No, we busy. And we wasn't really that busy.
Come on, be honest.
I just wasn't willing to be flexible because I didn't want to. And it was foul. It was not a good spirit. And I had to check myself on that. So I started to become more flexible when things came up or, whatever. And just be willing to move days, move weekends, be flexible on holidays and how you're going to handle those things. That flexibility will go a long way, a long way. Don't speak badly about the other parent ever in front of your child. Guilty as charged.
I am as well.
Take me to jail.
Yeah, be honest.
I've done it. And I remember, I think it was Iyanla who said it, that, maybe it was Dr. Phil. Whenever you do that, you shame your child. You are breaking something in them because at the end of the day, you picked him.
Did you not?
You picked him. But more importantly, God picked him.
Yes.
to be this child's father.
Yes.
So your child wouldn't be who they were if that person wasn't their father. So don't do that. Just don't speak badly. And if you want to be really on your grown woman, speak kindly about the other parent in front of your child.
Yes.
Because their relationship is not your relationship.
Say it again.
Their relationship is not your relationship. Don't judge them as a father necessarily by how they were as a mate. Maybe they weren't a great mate at the time for whatever reason. You probably weren't either. But that doesn't mean they can't be a great father.
Come on.
Just like you can be a great mother. They deserve that same benefit of the doubt.
Come on.
They have to grow into it sometimes. So that's huge, that those words coming out of our mouth. Get out of the way. Sometimes we just want to be in it, in the way of that relationship. Sometimes you got to just get out of the way. As my daughter has gotten older, she's free to choose her own relationship with her father. However that's going to be. And they have a great relationship.
Yes.
Thank you, God. But she's older now. I don't dictate that. I'm not in that.
Right.
Like, that's between you and your dad. How you want to figure that out, just let me know where I come into that. But she's older now, so for the older children, you get out of the way. Let them figure out their own relationship with their parent. That's something that comes with young adulthood. And then, if you really want to be grown, do things as a family sometimes.
Ooh. Okay.
Even if you're not together.
Okay.
Me, my daughter's father, my daughter. Sometimes we do things together. It wasn't often. I've learned that more now. But kids don't even sometimes know what that is like because they've never seen you three together in one setting. And I think it just does something for the children to have their both parents together and on good terms. You know, maybe not buddy-buddy or loving or whatever, but just good terms, able to all go out and break some bread together or something, or when you go to the graduations or the parties or whatever, that everybody's having a good time and enjoying the memories and the moments. Like, that will go a long way for your child. Those are things that they'll remember.
Yes.
And this is all process.
Yes.
It doesn't happen overnight. It's sometimes it's annually. You'll see little bits of this coming together. But as long as you're working towards this and you're got the right intentions and the right spirit and the heart about it, it will go a long way for your child. And one day they will look back and thank you for that and just be really appreciative of all that you did, that even under tough circumstances, you still put them first, just like Mack was saying, put the child first and do what you need to do to get them the strength and the emotional stability that all children need. Get your life.
Wow, you really laid it out there. So much so. And so here's the thing, everyone. We are single mothers. And yes, we have accomplished great things in life. But most importantly, why we're here on this show is because we want to live a life of transparency. And we want to be honest with you where we are even right now and today. When you were talking, I want to just say this as we're closing. You know, serving as that bridge. My ex-husband, my son's father, has been incarcerated for 14 years now. And so, just to be honest, I never wanted my sons to see their dad in an orange jumpsuit, you know, to introduce their dad behind bars, etc. But we have progressed from that, and I have been co-parenting with him as he's been behind bars. I have been speaking with him over the phone. He sends them letters. He calls them. He even emails. He even emails. But we are now getting to the place after 14 years of not seeing their father, but hearing his voice over the phone, right, and reading his words. This summer, I will serve as that bridge of support. We will be going down to the prison in another state, and so my sons will see their dad for the first time in 14 years. And there's no pain in my heart because, like you mentioned, our failed relationship has nothing to do with his ability to be a great father to his sons.
Wow.
So this is a big move, but this is a move that I believe is necessary in this season of their development.
Wow.
So be that bridge, Mom.
Look at God.
Know that God can heal you, okay, where you have been scorned, because the outcome of their future is pending on the words you speak today. Words of hope, seeds of encouragement. We hope that you were able to glean some nuggets from this particular session. Please visit McGhee's website, MackMcGhee.com, if you want to learn more about his man camp and the things that he's doing in Chicago, if you're local here in Illinois. If you're a single mom in Lake County, Illinois, and you need help, check us out on our website at www.teenandsinglemom.com. Now, if you need some coaching, go to my co-host's website. She has her own business, strongwomenstronglives.com, and we'll go ahead and we'll move forward in contacting you and just trying to serve as your support here. I am your host, Dr. Michele Vaughn, and my lovely co-host,
Dr. Stallworth.
and this is No Single Mom Left Behind Ustream TV Talk Show. Tune in next month and we'll have another exciting show. Thank you, everyone.
Just give me a moment and I can testify. I'm alive when I could have been left to die. Now I'm seeing it with desperate eyes, and I'm praying that